Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back on another interesting topic in Vedic astrology today. And today we'll be having a discussion on moon. I know we did discuss about the significations of moon in my earlier video, but I thought maybe I should discuss the characteristics of moon in a little more detail as to what the ancient sages and scholars have mentioned. And I always remind my viewers that all my videos are a direct reference to the ancient scriptures. So we'll discuss today about the planet moon, about the characteristics of the planet moon as given to us by various scholars and various ancient sages. Okay, the scholars I'm referring to are not the recent day astrologers, but somewhere between 1080 to 1580, so at least 500 to 700 years back into time, what the scholars have mentioned, and also we'll discuss as to what these sages have mentioned. Okay, so what the scholars have mentioned about the moon is, and this is coming through their shlokas in Sanskrit, is that moon, the body of moon is round. I think we already discussed that in one of the earlier videos, I remember. The eyes are beautiful, and the prakriti or the nature of moon is kapha. So when I refer to kapha, kapha is the kapha, vata, and the pitta element in a human body. And people who are not familiar with that, I'll recommend please refer to my earlier videos. So it is more kapha element as far as the planet moon is concerned, for people who are influenced by the planet moon. The complexion of that person is fair. People in India are generally not very fair, they're a little dark skinned, but people who are influenced more by the planet moon are fair in color. The planet moon is very intelligent, and he is a sweet speaker, so as to say, very intelligent and a sweet speaker. He's also very generous, and he's loved by his own friends, and he also has been described as to have a lot of ojas in it. So ojas is the life force in a human body. So people who are influenced by moon are generally very ojasvi, or people with a lot of life force. That is how one of the scholars has described the planet moon. There's another scholar who has mentioned very interestingly, very important thing about the planet moon. We all come across people who speak the wrong things at the wrong time or the right time. So if your planet moon is well placed and you're under a benefic planet moon, then moon has been described as to use a speech which is a proper speech at the proper time. Okay, we all mess up at times where we speak the wrong words and then we repent later, but if the moon is well placed, this according to the scholar, the ancient scholar, he will not do so. He'll speak the right words, the right amount of words at the right time. Okay, and this scholar has also described that his body is beautiful. Okay, and he has been described to be very pure in blood. So people who are influenced by a good moon will have pure blood, because moon rules over blood. Moon actually rules over anything fluid. The hair, according to this scholar, has been described as black and a little curly. We know that curly hair is mostly associated with the planet Venus, but here, this according to the scholar, the ancient scholar, his hair has been described as curly and black. Again, he believes the same thing, that he's more kapha-like, and he has large, beautiful eyes, and he has some kind of an attraction in himself. According to another scholar, about 1000 years ago, or maybe 1500 years ago, Varaha Mihira, he was a great scholar, astronomer, and astrologer. he has also described moon as round, but he has described very interestingly that people who are influenced by the planet moon, either through their lagna or the moon chart, or you know, the nakshatra, they will have a weak body. Okay, that has not been described other than the great sage or scholar, whatever you may like to call him, Acharya, as he was called, Acharya Varahamihira. Acharya is a great renowned teacher or a scholar. That is a Sanskrit word. So Acharya Varahamihira has mentioned that the planet moon's body is weak. However, he agrees that it's round, and he also agrees that it's mostly kapha dominated element. He also agrees that he's very intelligent, sweet speaking, and beautiful eyes. There's another scholar called Mantreshwara, also about 1000 or 1500 years ago. He's described the planet moon as a little on the fatter side. So he's not mentioned round as described by the other scholars, but he has mentioned that he's a little on the fatter side. He's also young and old as well, so he could be young or old. That's both. He's given two contradictory things. He's also explained that his body is weak. Once again, just like Varahamihira, he has explained his body is weak. The eyes are beautiful, and he has beautiful hair, and he has good amount of pure blood. He speaks very well, and additionally he has mentioned that the planet moon has white clothing on. So you'll see people who are influenced by the planet moon, they generally have white clothes. They love white clothes, and they are fair, very different, normally a little different from people who are from India, who are a little on the darker side. He's soft, and once again he mentioned that he's more kapha dominated. Okay, so here the scholar or the sage Mantreshwara has mentioned that he's on the fatter side, which has not been explained by other scholars as much. Then there's another scholar by the name of Vaidyanath. He is also mentioned through his shloka that he speaks very sweetly, and he has beautiful eyes, and he is very intelligent. Their body is round and kapha like. So there's a consensus right here. Then there's another scholar by the name of Venkateshwara from India, another, a few hundred years ago, and he's mentioned something unique, something different, that his body, he's not mentioned his body is round, he's mentioned that his body is very proportionate. Okay, it's not as if you'll find a person influenced by the planet moon as having a body which is fatter on the lower side and thin on the upper side, or vice versa. And then again, he agrees that he speaks very well. He does not have any problems in his body parts, and they're very proportionate. He generally does not have unproportionate body parts. That's what he had mentioned. And his speech is such, whenever he speaks, whenever moon speaks, or anybody who has a positive moon for that matter speaks, his speech is a speech which can give a lot of peace of mind. Okay, and he will do things based on his conscience. Okay, so he's first gonna check with his conscience as to whatever he does, whether it's right, ethical or not. So that's another mention. There's another scholar by the name of Kalyana Varma who has mentioned that he is generally a very quiet person. Eyes are beautiful, voice is very sweet, is fair, hair is again black and a little curly, and very intelligent, very knowledgeable, very soft, and very sattvika. We know that it's a sattvic planet, and he's also kapha dominated. So here is a consensus here again, and he wears white clothes. So there's a lot of consensus here as far as the description of the planet moon is concerned. So I just wanted to bring to your attention, along with the ancient scriptures which come from the great sages like Parashara, great sages like Bhrigu and Gemini, as to what the recent scholars, which are once again not the recent day astrologers, but somebody who was there and renowned a few thousand years ago, maybe 1,000 years or maybe 500 to 700 years ago. Then there was a question here whether moon is a malefic or a benefic. Okay, we know that moon is generally a benefic planet, but when does it become a malefic? That's also a discussion which a lot of astrologers have been discussing. And then we all know that it's a benefic, like I said, but then it can give malefic effects as well. One very important thing which has been which came out with this discussion between astrologers in ancient times is that wherever moon sits, it destroys that house. Okay, that's very, very unique. And I will recommend, please go out and check a few charts as to what it does. So it destroys the house where it's placed. Now, while it's waxing from day 0 to day 10, it is strong but not extremely strong. And then another 20 days after, another 10 days after the 10th day, starting from the waning period, the waxing period, I'm sorry. So the first waxing period, the first 10 days, it is strong, like a medium strong strength. Then another 10 days, which starts from day 10 through day 20, it becomes extremely strong. Okay, and we know that it waxes for 15 days and wanes for 15 days. So after the 15 days, although it wanes, but still it stays strong. So the first 10 days, starting from the waxing period, I'm sorry, it is medium strong. From day 10 to day 20, it is extremely strong. And when it is strong, this discussion says that it gives extremely positive results. So even in its waning period, after the 15th day, for the first 5 days, it stays extremely strong. That's very important to understand. And then the last 10 days, it becomes extremely weak, and then it does not give good results. So that was the discussion which concluded that these are the times when it gives medium results, when it's medium in strength, the first day starting from the Shukla Paksha or the waxing period. Day 10 to day 20, it is extremely strong and gives very good results when it's very strong and extremely strong and gives good results, although it may be 5 days in the waxing period and 5 days in the waning period, and the last 10 days when it's waning until it becomes 0 in strength, it gives extremely inauspicious results. So astrologers, please make a note of this. This is a very important point when you consider a chart. Look at the point when it starts to wax and when it starts in Shukla Paksha. That's the time until the next 20 days. It'll be medium benefic, and then very, very benefic, extremely benefic. So the first 20 days benefic, and then the last 10 days extremely, extremely malefic, because it becomes very weak at that point. So the first 10 days has been described as, he's young, but not as, he's like a teenage deer growing towards his prime youth. And then the middle 10 days is when it's at its prime youth, when it becomes very strong. And then the last 10 days, it is considered to be in its vridhavastha, as it's called in Sanskrit, or in its old age. And that's the time you have to be careful in birth charts. Moon's extremely important because that's the closest planet. Well, we consider moon as a planet in Vedic astrology. It's the closest planet to Earth, so it gives major results. So watch out for the waxing and the waning periods, and you'll be able to figure out as to whether it's going to give good results or not. Of course, there are other factors also to be taken into consideration: what house it rules, whether it's conjunct or malefic, what kind of aspects it's having. Take into consideration all those factors as well. And also at night it is very strong, it gives good results, and the Shukla Paksha, or the waxing period, is actually very, very auspicious. So hopefully you did enjoy this little video on the planet moon, and when planet moon can give good results or bad results, and also as to what are the characteristics of the planet moon as described by the various scholars, not the recent day scholars, but somebody who was around 1,000 to 1,500 years ago. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel, check out my website, there is a link below, and I'll see you with an interesting topic in Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.